100%. This is the Malachi 3:10 that says, bring the whole tithe into the storehouse. There might be food in here. And he says, then I'll open up the floodgates of heaven and pour out blessing that you can't contain it. This is the moment that we see where we are to give our tithe. I have people ask me all the time, Pastor, is it pre-tax or post-tax? I'm like, just give. I don't know. Okay. But it does say bring the whole tithe. So you take that for what you want to take it. Okay. But this is the story of tithing. And I remember my first tithe I ever gave on my first check at Bill Miller's of $136 when I worked there. And I gave my first tithe and thought that was amazing. But then God started to speak to me as I was sitting in service, and I was tithing faithfully. But then I started to hear stories of what God was doing in people's lives all around the world. And so I remember giving to a missionary for the first time. I remember the first time I ever gave to a missionary and the first time I ever fasted was in the same service. I gave an offering to a missionary in Africa, and then my pastor asked us to fast one day that week for his mission, and that was the first time I ever fasted. I think I was 16 or 17 years old, and then I immediately went to Whataburger the next day. But I fasted for the first time, and this was my offering to the Lord. This was my sacrifice to the Lord. And so I went from emotional giving for my lifesavers to tithing on what God was blessing me with, to then being part of a little bit more of what God was doing. And now I live a life that is constantly looking at, what can God lead me to give? What could God lead me to do? God, if my life is a living sacrifice, what are you asking of me? And so I began to live my life differently, because now I live in a space that's called Spirit-led giving, where I'm saying, God, I'm going to give you more of my life. You just got to lead me in where that's going to be. I'm going to be faithful in my tithe, and I'm going to give to the More campaign in the new building. But God, what are you doing in a new season of my life that I need to be Spirit-led in giving? And so that's where we have Spirit-led giving. Now, here's where the illustration comes to play. Because as I was growing up, I had options. Because I could emotionally give and still hang on to my dreams. I could do this well, and I could make sure that my hopes of being a lawyer, or my hopes of being a baseball player were going to happen, and I could put resources towards those dreams as long as I was just emotionally giving. But when God called me to tithe,